Good evening. I am C. Ron Allen. It's now 7:01 p.m.
And I am Daryl Creary, and a warm welcome to each of you to this week's edition of Community Conversations.
Here at Community Conversations, we look forward to just spending 1 hour with you, a chance for us to just discuss issues of importance to our young people and the community. Take it, Daryl.
Let me say thanks to all the adults, parents, grandparents, educators, and responsible servants who every night hang out with us to share ideas and instill values in these young people. We hear from you in the streets, we get your texts and emails, and we value your feedback. You are indeed making a contribution to your community, and for that, we say thank you.
Let's keep going.
Jania, how was your week? Any new
Janaya, are you
insights?
there? How about DJ? Are you with us? DJ? How about Tristan? Who do we
I'm
have
with
with
you,
us?
Mr. C-Ron.
Oh, you are. You are. What's going on, man?
Everything's great.
Oh, I like your glasses there. You got some glasses this week, huh?
Yep.
Are those new?
No, I've had them.
Oh,
They're
you've had
computer
them.
glasses.
Oh, computer glasses. What does that mean?
It blocks the blue light.
Blocks the blue light. Did you say the blue light?
Yes,
Okay, got you. Now, how was your week, DJ?
it was great, Mr. C-Ron.
What was so great about it? You always seem to have great weeks. What was so great about it?
Every single day, I got 100% for the past week, and I've also I also got every week I got 100% on all my assignments.
Oh,
Perfect.
so that yeah, that is. And let me see. You had this past week, you had a chance to just recently you wrote a speech that you gave a speech recently. Am I correct?
Yeah.
What was that about?
Yes,
Okay, go ahead and pause. Is that your TV DJ? I know you want to give me the score, but we'll get to that later on. The score, the results.
that's not
What was
my
the speech about?
computer.
Oh, that
My
wasn't yours. What
no.
was the your speech about?
My speech about voting and how is it important to stop voting, and not only that, it's about gun violence and how we can stop it, because the whole event was based around gun violence and how it
What
happened.
event was this? What event was this?
Concert across America to end gun violence.
Okay, and you had a chance to speak,
Yep.
and Tristan also heard Tristan spoke, and he did an awesome job from what I'm hearing. Huh?
Yes.
Is Tristan around today? Is he nearby?
Yep.
May I
Yes.
speak to him? May I speak with him, please?
Yes. Yes, sir. Kristen,
You know, folks, as Tristan comes to the microphone, just want to let you know that here at Community Conversations, we take full advantage of remote technology to bring our young kings and young queens together
do
with
that
members of
from
the
the phone.
community, community leaders, and their peers across the country. Is he
With us?
okay? We'll get
No, he's
as you will
just
see,
eating
folks,
dinner.
tonight.
He's
This
to finish
forum.
up his food.
Okay, let me know when he's here, DJ. But as you'll see,
He
folks,
wants.
tonight, this 1 hour forum deepens connections. It provides discussion on a range of topics, including social emotional learning, race and inequality, improving relations with law enforcement, post secondary education careers, health and wellness, and as you just heard a minute ago, politics. So with us tonight is Tristan. Where is Tristan? Is he around? Let me speak to him, DJ, please.
Okay, Mr. Siron. He wants to speak to Tristan. He's heading up to the stage now.
Oh, to the stage. Wow, you guys are at the stage. Tristan, what's happening, buddy?
I have a good.
Come on, DJ.
I did a
Tristan. So Tristan, how are you? A photo of John Lewis. How are you, Tristan?
This is not John Lewis.
Who is that?
That's my dinosaur. I
Your
love
dinosaur. I thought I saw a photo of John Lewis next to you a minute ago. Okay, so I heard you wrote a speech, and I heard you gave your speech this past week. Tell me about the speech. What was the speech about?
It was
Tristan?
about a gun violence, to stop gun violence, because I used to stop gun violence.
Okay, and were you nervous when you gave the speech?
No, I was
You
proud because I can stop guns.
how can you stop gun violence?
Because I used my speech, and I said, help stop gun violence. And I
Oh, really? Did you
speech.
write? Did you have to? Now, Tristan, did you read the speech or you know it by heart? Can you give us? Can you say the speech for us?
Yeah, I know it comes from gun violence. I memorized this
Okay,
because
you memorize it. Okay, well, let's hear it then. Since you memorize it, let's hear it. Come on.
good evening, everyone. My name is Tristan Boyd. Mommy, this one will make me. Good evening, everyone. My name is Tristan Boyd, and I'm 4 years old. The way John Lewis said, the vote is the most powerful non-violent tool we have. Your vote is your voice. Help stop gun violence. Thank you. I am Tristan Boyd, and I approve this message. Thank you.
You're quite welcome, sir. Wow, very proud of you.
Comes from gun violence. I need to let everyone to put down the guns.
Really? From a child's mouth, ladies and gentlemen. Now, DJ, I know you have a speech as well, and we're going to get to your speech later in the program, DJ. Is that okay with you?
Yep, that's perfect. Yes, that's perfectly fine with me, sir.
Fine. So, Daryl, you also addressed the Palm Beach County School Board recently. What was the nature of your speech? Was it on gun violence as well?
No, sir. The nature of my speech was on race relations within school. At the time, I unfortunately did not observe the agenda on specifically how this was going to be brought up in the meeting. So I proposed instating a Black Student Union to mitigate how adrift we are on addressing race within school. On coming to the meeting and discovering the issue of ethnicity regarding the Jewish community and how they're being treated within our school system, I was given the opportunity to move past my speech and then grow it with the president of our school's Jewish Student Union to have a joint intersection plan on maybe in the future writing to school legislation to have a sort of pilot program done. And we're also planning on addressing the voting status for Mr. William Latson, a past principal within the school system.
Okay. Well, interesting. What we're going to do is, wow. What we're going to do is we're going to have you tell us more about that next week. Do you mind?
No, sir, not at all. I'll be
I
back
want to
to
hear more about that, but yes, I want I want to hear more about that race relations in in the schools. We have a pretty tight program tonight. We have a lot on the agenda. So, Janaya, how are you?
Good, Mr. John. How are you?
Great. It's so nice to see you with us. I know we're going to see you. I know we're going to see. Go ahead and mute your phone. Go ahead and mute your phone, guys. Mute your microphone. Janai, I know we're going to see you tomorrow morning at Soaring Eagles, 9 o'clock. For those who want to join us, we have our aviation program in the morning at 9 o'clock, and we have a bang up program planned for you. We have a flight instructor going to be hanging out with us for the morning. Okay, so again, 9 o'clock. If you're interested, we will just let us know in the chat, and we'll make sure you have the invite to attend. Darren, what do you have for us?
All right, so stepping from our flyer for streaming on Facebook, can we just pull that up real quick, please? We welcome our friends who are joining us on either our KOP Mentoring Network or Boca Raton Tribune Facebook pages. We're now streaming live on Instagram at KOP Network, and we also have this link to our Facebook stream. Now let's pull up our file for our Dream Scholarship to our high school senior schoolers. We're in the height of the scholarship season. Please make sure that you are checking your emails as we'll be sending out information on scholarships. If you are a graduating senior, like myself, a freshman in community college with less than 21 credits, or a graduate of a community college, an immigrant student, you may qualify for the Dream Scholarship, which is a Pell Grant for highly motivated dreamers with significant unmet financial need. Visit www.thedream.us to learn more. Now let's pull
And
up
speaking of scholarship, the Quantum Foundation also has scholarships for young Black males who are enrolled in a medical science academy in a Palm Beach County high school, and if you're pursuing a degree in healthcare. You can learn more about the scholarship at www.scholarships.org. And if you're missing one of those addresses, you can always go back to the chat and find that, or you can go back to our Facebook pages and you can listen. Now we have some money for you guys and some food. We just talked about scholarships. Now we have some food opportunities for you. Palm Beach County residents, once again, have the opportunity to apply for food assistance through the county's Community Services Department. See, under the CARES Act, the county is issuing prepaid debit cards to eligible household for food purchases. Those cards can only be used for food purchases, no gas or any of that. Only one card will be issued per household, and all expenditures must be made by December 30th of this year. Assistance will be based on the household size, obviously, with the maximum amount as follows. 1 to 2 person household, get $400. That's a lot of money for food. 3 to 4 household, you get, that's doubled to $800. And 5 plus or more, or 5 or more, you'll get a whopping $1,000. Go ahead and mute all for me, please, Dina. To qualify for either of these programs, applicants must prove that they have been adversely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, and you must provide supporting documents, recent pay stub, file tax return, government ID, obviously. To learn more, go to, or to apply, go to www.rentalassistancepbc.org. In case you missed that, you can visit our Facebook page at KOP Mentoring Network and learn more.
So on the topic of leadership and opportunity, here at KOP, we believe that leadership training prepares youth to manage their time, work in a team setting, set goals, start conversations, facilitate meetings, and make effective presentations, all of which are positive life skills that they will carry into adulthood. Please
Go ahead and unmute yourself, Daryl. Go ahead. I had to mute all. Sorry about that.
That's fine, Mr. Siron. Please direct your attention to our friend, Mr. John Maxwell, for a leadership minute. Let's pull up the video, please.
How many times have you had somebody say, well, I promise you? Well, promise is our word today. I'm in it with Maxwell. Hi, my name is John. And I think every one of us have had times in our life where there was a promise that pretty well gave us a look at what the future could be if we improved ourselves. It's a wonderful word. It's a word of anticipation. It's a word of hope. It's a word of growth. So when somebody says, I promise you, it's normally something that's going to be in a positive way. And pretty much they're saying, I'm going to put my name on the line, my reputation on the line. Now, we've heard the saying many times that some people, they overpromise and underdeliver, and that isn't where you want to go. Really, what you want to do is underpromise and overdeliver. You see, the gap between expectation and reality, that's called disappointment. So when we promise something, don't leave the gap. Fulfill your promise. I can promise you this. If you do that, people will love your promise. Thanks for being with me today on Minute with Maxwell.
All right. Special shout out to our international viewers. Special welcome for our friends in the Bahamas, Belize, Jamaica, my hometown, Tobago, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Please remember to share community conversation on our social media pages. If you missed a show, you can find it on Boca Tribune or KOP Mentoring Network's Facebook pages, which were linked earlier.
And let me remind you that this segment is brought to you by the generous donation of Healthier Delray Beach, Blanc's New Look Barber Shop. By the way, I was not in the barber chair today, so that explains why my due's not where it's supposed to be. DNA Total Fitness, Ezra Krieg, Marsha Eisenberg, and Doug Young. Folks, thanks to our sponsors, we are able to bring you community conversation each week. Now, as you interact with your friends and neighbors, please tell them to like our sponsors on Facebook and also thank them for caring about our youth. I am just tickled pink tonight. You know, it's a great feeling. I'm just sitting here. If you guys could just experience how I'm feeling right now to see one of my proteges co-hosting this show, and I'm about to turn the reins over to them in a few. It's a beautiful feeling, Daryl, just to have you in the seat next to me, hosting the program. Tonight's program, folks, is, as you know, produced by Miss Joadina Bazoo, a graduating senior at a community high school here in Delray Beach, and it's called Atlantic Community High School. She's also a product of the Milagro Center here in town. Now, Daryl Creary, a graduating student at Atlantic High School here in Delray also, sitting in the big chair next to me. He is serving as our production intern, and very soon, I'm sure he won't be using that title anymore. Our illustrious cinematographer is Neil Noel, and he is a proud product of KOP Mentoring Network. KOP on the go. Ms. Delina John, welcome. Great having you this evening. Mr. Ezekiel Hobbs, a graduating senior at Florida A&M University in Tallahassee, is serving as our production relations intern, or rather our public relations intern. And he is responsible for all our increased presence on our social media pages. Let me just take a point of personal privilege to say, again, I can't say enough about this young man. If anyone out there is looking for someone to just do some social media work for you, this is someone you definitely may want to take a look at. This young man knows what it takes to get you the results that your organization or your company needs to reach an audience. That's Mr. Ezekiel Hobbs, Florida A&M soon-to-be graduate. Young ladies and gentlemen, I know that you're breathing a better, by the way, has it been made official who the new leader of the free world is yet, Dina? Is it official yet?
Not yet. We're still
Not yet?
counting.
Okay, thank you. Well, folks, I know you're breathing a little bit better than you were, say, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and may even be this morning. One person, though, I know for sure is just happy. He is just rolling, tickled pink that this election is now in the shadows, is Mr. John. Hey, brother, how's it going?
Good, man. Kind of to your point, just up all night Tuesday night. I think I stayed up to about 3 a.m. and Wednesday night, maybe 2 a.m. Last night, around the same. So, but to your point, I actually have it on in the background. It is good to feel a little bit better. It definitely feels good, one, that the election is over, because I feel like it's different, through the Fraternity of Voteless Peoples of Hopeless People, and how we had to register people to vote, how we had to use social media, Zoom calls, just different avenues to get out to reach people. And so, yeah, it's kind of good. Was hoping to sleep, I was hoping that we find out the results Tuesday night, so then we can kind of sleep the rest of the week. But yeah, no, it's still been a grind, and so
right. What time
that's
did you
where
go
we
to
are,
bed
man.
Tuesday night? What time did you go to bed Tuesday night?
Man, 3 a.m. 3 a.m.
3 a.m. Okay.
Absolutely, but yeah, I'm kind of interested if everyone wants to put in the chat kind of one, if you voted, let us know that you voted, and then two, just how you feeling. And so that's kind of, I'm excited that we got through that, and it looks like hopefully we'll be able to finish strong, and these votes get counted. So I'm excited.
John, over the years I've covered election as a newsman. I've covered election, and I've been through a few elections over my time as a professional journalist. If there's any election that's proof that every vote counts, folks, young people, you need to hear this. If there's any election that is proof that every vote counts, it is this one. I've heard people say it's taking too long. But guess what? You see the outcome. And I'm just sure that there are a lot of people out there right now. A lot of people are just, especially authors, professors, and others. This is gonna be in the history books for one. But we have it coming up. Okay. This is gonna be in the history book, and this is just gonna be great. Let's put it that way. Daryl,
All right.
what do you think?
With my opinion on this,
John, do we have a video today, John?
No video today. Just kind of wanted to see how everybody's feeling, and kind of just talk in general about. I will say though that the job is not done in Georgia as far as the Senate seats, and there'll be two Democrats able to do a runoff in January. So that's kind of the next big thing. And then just looking at the Senate seats, the U.S. House of Representatives, and then the local elections. I mean, Palm Beach County, Broward County turned out to be blue. And so not a video this week, but more just wanted to talk to the people.
Well, hopefully we'll have this thing wrapped up by, say, Thanksgiving or maybe Christmas. But I'd be remiss if I did not say this. I learned that the seat, and help me with this, Brother John, the seat that the late, great, as Tristan alluded to, John Lewis, Representative John Lewis, vacated, or he passed. The seat, his former seat in Atlanta, may be instrumental, or may have been instrumental in us being where we are today, or the country being where it is today as far as votes.
I agree.
Okay, how so?
Just thinking, I will say that
I know people went out from Atlanta to vote.
Absolutely.
district.
And and I also say that between Stacey Abrams really being on the ground, doing a lot of the community organizing, that in general, with all of that taking place, that I think that it did, more people were more excited to vote and more people registered to vote and participate in the political process, which now, what I think Biden has about a 4,000 vote lead in Georgia. So yeah, so a clear cut winner didn't emerge from the special election, and so we'll see how that plays out for his seat.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, before I turn it back over to you, Darryl, great having you on, man. We missed you the last couple of weeks, but great having you on. I guess you put the wrong password in, but finally you're with us. Darryl?
Yeah. So the election is 3 days behind us, as per the words of Mr. John. And while some of you are breathing a sigh of relief, there was a lot at stake on the ballot and on the minds of our young people. Please direct your attention to Miss Alex as some of her Gen Zers give us their take on what's at stake. Miss Alice, are you here with us tonight? Miss Anderson?
She's not. That's fine. What I'm going to do is, okay, since she's not, well, you know what? The COVID-19 has had a disproportionate, let's say, economic impact on young people. And as we witness the crisis collided with a bitter presidential election, the strains have left a mark on their politics, further widening the gap with older, more conservative generation. We have a lot at stake, people. Neil, you were not here last week, but during the week you had a chance to share with me some concerns that you had that your peers, your friends, and colleagues or classmates had. How do you feel now that the elections are over and most of the issues you were concerned about are somewhat settled, if so?
Well, with Joe Biden's victory kind of impending with this 2020 election, I feel like that's a step in the right direction since Donald Trump really didn't match a lot of the values that us younger people have. For example, with police reform, with climate change, and, regarding healthcare and women's reproductive rights. I feel like all of these conservative values really need to be thrown out the door. And now that we're likely to get a president that shares a lot more of these values, my generation is, quite excited and quite pumped to see this kind of positive change.
Right. Okay. What were some of the top concerns that they shared with you?
Well, yeah, one was with climate change, since we only have 7 years before a thermal runaway would occur, and absolutely
Before a what?
thermal runaway,
What the heck is that?
the point where the Earth will heat up to the point where absolutely nothing that humans can do will stop it from cooling back down. The Earth will just keep heating up and heating up, leading to warmer oceans, which will make more storms, more hurricanes, as you can see with this year, where we ran out of hurricane names. It also
So are you saying that the people in, say, New York and New England and, let's say, Toronto will have summer year round like Florida? Is that what it means?
I mean,
I'm sure Delina's out there asking the same question too.
it might go to that extent, it might not, but they might not see snow at all anymore if the Earth just keeps heating up. They might even start seeing hurricanes, because hurricanes really don't ever hit that area, New York and Canada. But if the Earth keeps getting hotter and hotter, what's going to stop those hurricanes from reaching all the way north?
Right.
And
Okay.
it's also going to lead to more droughts, since with California, you can see how they're battling these huge wildfires. as the soil keeps getting drier and drier.
Neil, I'm not seeing your face. Your camera is on. Can you turn your camera on, please? I'm getting messages that your camera's not on. Continue speaking.
As California, you can see how they're dealing with the
There you
wildfires
go.
and such as the soils keep getting drier and drier. And unlike the East Coast that has the precipitation moving in from the Atlantic Ocean, the West Coast has a lot of mountains that kind of prevent as much moisture from coming in. So there's really nothing stopping these wildfires from just progressively getting worse and worse as the temperature keeps rising.
So you're saying that the wildfires that we're experiencing out in the West Coast has some bearing on, or the global warming has a bearing on the wildfires out?
I mean, yeah, it's kind of a cycle because trees actually help get rid of carbon dioxide, which is what is the main contributing factor to the heating climate. And as these trees keep on burning and there are less and less trees, that means there's less and less trees to capture the carbon back from the atmosphere. And then therefore there's more carbon in the air, the hotter it will get, the more trees will burn. So it's kind of this cycle that just keeps on going and going. And that's why humans have to do something, take some sort of action to prevent this thermal runaway, which we only have around 7 years. We have that. A lot of 98% of scientists agree on. So,
Wow.
and with Trump, stepping into the climate, the Paris Accord, and this like completely getting rid of clean air regulation and such, and allowing oil industries to basically do anything they want to the environment. All of this only hurts the environment. It's not helping our cause at all.
Okay. You mentioned that the Supreme Court could have a bearing as well. The Supreme Court nominee recent appointment could have a bearing on young people. You want to elaborate on that, or young
Yeah,
people's concerns?
well, now that Amy Coney Barrett is now officially part of the Supreme Court, that means that the Supreme Court has more of a conservative lean towards it, which really doesn't match what our liberal and progressive agenda that us young people have. So issues like women's reproductive rights, making abortions illegal, and LGBTQ rights and getting rid of marriage equality, those values don't match the young people who are the future leaders of this country. It doesn't match our values. And the problem is with the Supreme Court, this conservative Supreme Court is going to last like around a lifetime. So, yeah, that's my take.
DJ is asking, what's the lifetime? What's considered a lifetime? You say it's going to last a lifetime. What do you mean by that?
I mean, the lifetime of these Supreme Court justices, and Amy Coney Barrett is quite young, so she'll be on that court for quite a while. So that means decades of conservative, the conservative Supreme Court. So.
Okay. And the last thing I want to ask you, Neil, I thought it was somewhat interesting. You mentioned that the rollback of the Obamacare, what impact will that have on, how will that impact young people?
Well, young people just kind of see how messed up our healthcare system is. It's kind of, if you don't have enough money to afford the healthcare, then oh well, I guess you just pass away or die. Like there's really no system. Well, the system that's currently there isn't really there to help people who are less fortunate enough to afford these treatments that cost thousands of dollars. So a lot of young people, they want, free healthcare, while like moderate Democrats like Joe Biden are kind of pushing for affordable healthcare, which is a step in the right direction. Because like there's no reason why a person needs to pay $1,500 for a bottle of insulin that they need to live. So, yeah.
Thank you, Neil. I'm sure that in a few weeks, someone from CNN may be reaching out to you because they definitely need to get the perspective of the young people. Let me just say hello. I see Miss Anne Marie is on the line. Great having you. Always good when our political officials join us and elected officials. Great having you, ma'am. Historically, folks, more than a half of Florida's poll workers have been over 60 years old. Yep, the people who work the poll have been pretty old. And this year, because of increased vulnerability to the coronavirus, there was a huge recruitment emphasis on younger people, and many stepped up to the plate. I'm very proud to say one of those is our very own Lindsay Polidor, who is a graduating senior at Atlantic Community High School. Lindsay has agreed to share her experience working the polls with us, and I noticed she just joined us. By the way, this young lady is at work and she took her lunch break to join us. Lindsay, thank you very much for joining us. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Great, great, great. Thank you so much again. Tell us though, how did you get involved and why did you want to work as a poll worker?
So my first line of interest was definitely I was very upset that I can't vote. I'm only 17 and my birthday isn't until January. So it really hurt me that I couldn't see the election up close and personal and actually be part of it. So I was looking at ways where I can still be involved as a 17-year-old who can't vote, who can't physically have a say by filling in that ballot. So when
Mm-hmm.
I when my National Honor Society at my school sent out an email and they were like, the um, city officials are looking for poll workers and they'll be taking people 16 and up. I automatically took that opportunity and I was like, this is what I need to do. I can't vote. I can't give my opinion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to observe. So next time, when the next 4 years come and the next election comes, not even just the next 4 years, any election that comes, I understand the procedures and I know what to do, and I kind of have that up close and personal relationship with with voting. So, and I think it's very important that we do take seriously our democracy. So that's one of the main reasons why I decided to work the polls on November 3rd.
And what what was the makeup like at the polls, the racial and demographic makeup?
So I was very surprised. It was actually very diverse amongst the poll workers. It was extremely diverse. Um, my clerk was actually a Black woman. My assistant clerk was a Hispanic woman. My work, I had one Caucasian worker. I had a African American worker. It was very diverse at
And
the
what city
polling
were
place
you
where I
working
was.
in? Where were you? What city were you assigned to?
I was assigned in the city of West Palm Beach. So that's where I was
Okay.
assigned. Yeah, and it was extremely diverse. It was a lot of minorities. It was very diverse amongst the poll workers and the voters as well. I think it was extremely diverse, which really surprised me because I honestly didn't expect that. I expected it to be majority Caucasian, but when I seen that a lot of minorities took the chance to come out and help out their community, it just really, really inspired me. Really.
Okay. Now tell us, poll workers are the gatekeepers of democracy. They check people in, verify their identity, and determine their eligibility, obviously, to vote.
hmm
How was the experience? What were some of the highlights that stood out to you?
So I wouldn't trade the experience for anything. Although I did have to be there at 5:30 in the morning, and I didn't leave until 9 p.m. Um, it was the experience was something that really opened my eyes, and it helped me realize a lot of things about our democracy. For one, helped me realize because from an outsider looking in, like someone who doesn't really understand that we do have a democracy, a lot of people might think how, like, we might think of the, like, for example, right now what's going on with how the election's rigged and all that things and all those things that are going on.
Lindsay, can you have them? Is there someone in the back speaking where you are?
Oh no, they just left.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm by myself right now.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, so where was I? Yeah. So I think it was just, I feel like from an outsider looking in, you don't really understand the process. But when you actually work and you see the democracy at play, you understand that it really doesn't, like, it doesn't matter. You're not shamed of who you vote for, especially at the polls. You're not shamed. Like, and I think that's a very important part of democracy. You can't be shamed while you're voting for someone. Despite your opinions, you shouldn't be shamed, like, while you're voting. And I think it was important that that you can see that at the polling places, that you can see that everyone is allowed to express themselves, and that's very important in democracy. And the fact that I got to see that, like, nobody was coming up to anybody telling them, you need to do this, you need to do that. It was really the one time where I seen that we really do have a freedom. Like, we have a freedom to choose, basically, the future of our country. And so I appreciated that. While I don't necessarily agree with some of the things that people vote for and the outcomes, it's just happy to know that we are not constrained and forced into anything, and that the people of America really do have a choice. So I think that's,
You know, and at some sites, Lindsay, they had to ask people to remove their hats and remove their change their T-shirts, or couldn't come in with the T-shirts they were wearing because obvious inappropriate content. Did you guys experience anything like that?
So yes, but I feel like there was two people that actually were wearing inappropriate clothing, but the poll workers didn't really say anything about it, because I feel like it was like a sense of, like, fear, or I just don't want to bother this person. I don't want them to be mad at me. I don't want them to get angry at me. And so they didn't say, like, because personally that wasn't because everyone's assigned something, and that was not my assignment. So I personally didn't say anything. It was up to the clerk and the people checking people in, and they didn't say anything. I asked them about it, because that was one of the rules. They said that was one of the main rules that we're supposed to. That's one of the main rules that we're supposed to abide by. So when I did notice that, I was like, okay. I asked around, and they said it's fine for these. It's just fine. So that's how they spoke about it. So I didn't really say anything to them, but they weren't rude about it. They were pretty respectful. So I think it just depended on how, like, they're, like, if they were loud about it, if they were trying to force their opinion on somebody else, maybe they would have told them to remove it. But they were very calm about it. They were just wearing someone was wearing a hat, someone was wearing a mask. They came in, they just did what they had to do. So it wasn't really anything where we had to, interfere with what was going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lindsay Polidor, a graduating senior at Atlantic Community High School, who served as a poll worker during the most recent election this year. Lindsay, thank you very much for your civic duty, and thank you for being with us today. We are very proud of you.
Thank you.
You know, guys, you can mark a ballot. You can press a touch screen, pull a lever, and some of you guys listening to me now, especially if you're outside the state, and hear me clearly, if you're outside the state of Florida, you actually did not vote for president this year. Yes, I said that. And while it may sound frivolous or even ridiculous, it certainly is not. I'm sure civics teachers, as I said earlier, I'm sure civics teachers and professors all across the country are smiling as they gather relevant content for their curriculum this election season. Words like caucus, canvassing have been added to many of us as vocabulary, and certainly the most popular two words used over the last 2 days were electoral college. It is understandably why many people are confused over what happens after this week's debacle or following them casting their ballots. Yes, it took a while, or it's taking a while before we know who the next president will be. But that is, and this is, a beautiful demonstration of democracy in action. Young people, more than 150 million people voted this year, the first time in recorded history. And I dare say that women, blacks, and young people played a large role in this. Topic for another program. But to add some perspective to everything is our very own Professor Rudy Tinker, a professor in criminal justice and American government courses at Central Texas College. We also have Mr. Chris Caesar from Men Talk, who will be joining us shortly to add another perspective. But Professor, how are you, sir?
I'm good.
Great having you with us as usual. Now, Professor, if you will, how is it that a candidate for president of the United States can garner majority of the votes cast by the people and still lose the election, as we've seen? We saw 4 years ago with Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and I think that was the case with Al Gore. Am I correct?
Yeah.
No, yes. How could that be?
Well, you got to put things in perspective a little bit to make sure the people understand how the Electoral College or why it was even established.
Yes, please.
If you take a civics
Professor,
class,
your camera is still off. Can you turn it on, please, sir?
yeah, my background's very dark. You're not gonna see me.
Okay,
So,
we may have
I
a
get
problem there. We may have a problem there because the folks on Facebook, it's very
Oh.
difficult for them to hear you. If you can, just put a photo up or something. In the meantime, while you do that, let's get back to you while you take care of that. Mr. Caesar, are you with us?
Alright.
Mr. Chris Caesar, you with us? Okay, Professor, I can
Okay,
see.
can they see
Yes,
now?
much better, much better.
Okay.
No, we lost you again.
All right. Hold on. Okay. All right. How's that?
That's fine. Yes, it's on Facebook. They've seen a black. That's fine. You said it was very dark. They've seen a black background, but on WebEx we can't see you at all. So, guess we're just gonna have to go with what we have. Your content is important. But anyway, go ahead, please. Dina, can you put a photo up? Chris Caesar, you with us? Hey, Anushka, how are you?
Good, how are you, Mr. Sheehan?
Pretty good. Great that you had a chance to. There you go. Much better, Professor. Much better.
All right.
Great that you had a chance to join us, Anushka. Will I see you in the morning?
Yes, Mr. Sheehan.
Yes, ma'am. 8:45, bright and early, right? Thank you. Yeah, Professor. Thanks again, sir.
All right. So, like I was getting to, is important to know the background. And so, when you have this electoral college, and if you're taking a class in civics somewhere in middle school or maybe high school, they would have discussed hopefully they would have discussed the 3/5 compromise. And the electoral college was established because back then during the slavery era, you had small states like Pennsylvania, was small in population, and a big state like Virginia was larger in population because they had slaves. So the two, which is called the Great Compromise, they argued against each other, saying, "Listen, if you guys in the South gonna use 3/5 of one black person to consider it as a vote, then we want, because in Pennsylvania and Delaware are pretty small, we want to have the minimum of 2 senators for each state and one congressman to be able to have some sort of equal representation. So when you look at the electoral map, for example, you see the state of Florida is 29 electoral votes. That basically means that you have a total of 2 senators and 27 congressmen and women that will represent the state of Florida. Then when you go to, for example, Alaska, you see a number 3. Alaska, because their population is so low, only have 2 senators and 1 congressman, because under the new draft now, you need a minimum of 600. You need a minimum of 1 person up to 650,000 people to have 1 congressman. Once you have 650,000 plus 1, then you get another congressman. So when we say, oh, the electoral college is bad, really, when you look at it, it's not too bad, only because it gives smaller states equal representation in Congress. So that's where this whole electoral argument comes from. So someone can win the popular vote and lose the presidency if they don't get enough electoral votes. Now, look at it from another perspective, and I'll give you a quick perspective here. Let's say you go popular vote all the time. Any Democratic president would not have to win any state in the interior of the United States and win. They could win California, Oregon, Washington, New York, Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, maybe if you want to throw in Illinois, and they will win every single time. So in a way, it's good, and in a way, some people think it's bad because I feel like my vote don't count. But your vote does count on a bigger scheme of things, because really, when you look at it, the people in the small states are Americans also, and they want their vote to count also. So if we feel like this electoral college is bad, then people from the populous state need to start moving into the unpopulous state, so it can balance out. But that's the reason why this was established.
Now, folks, if you have some questions out there, you can either put them in the chat or you can text them to us at 561-665-0151, 561-665-0151. Mr. Join us. Are you there with us?
Hello.
Mr. Caesar?
Yes. You said Caesar?
Yes. Chris, can you open your camera, please?
Yeah, I'm trying. It's giving me.
Okay, while you work on that, let's go back to you, Professor. Okay. How would campaigns be different if we didn't have the Electoral College, Professor?
Campaigns would be, actually, it would be much more, in a way, campaigns would be strategically focused on where you're gonna get the big bang for your money. For example, in California has a huge population, so people would only strategically start focusing on where they're gonna get the big returns. And like I said, in this aspect, in my opinion, and many professors will have all sorts of different opinions, I think smaller states will get left out of the process, because I think you will really see a position where your vote really doesn't matter, maybe to a particular party. Because, for example, Kansas always goes red. Why go to Kansas and waste money campaigning if you know you're going to lose in Kansas? You know, or you could look at it in another way to say, okay, well, since every vote counts, then then campaigning could become very expensive, because in every state, people will spend much more money trying to get the vote. But if you really look at the map the way it laid out, if I'm a Democratic candidate, I would not even entertain the interior votes, because I will just go for the big states that gives me the biggest bang for my buck. And like I said, that's on the far west of the country, the far east, and maybe a couple states in the north central area like Minnesota, Illinois, and Michigan. But really, when you look at it, and that's what George Bush did, he focused on the little states. And that's how he was able, I mean, Hillary Clinton had him beat by a couple million votes. But it didn't matter, because the fight was for electoral votes and not popular votes. So it's a checks and balance. It has this balance where it checks each other to give a nice representation of the whole country. But some people would object to that and say, get rid of it. But then I think we will have, I mean, one party could be ruling for a long time.
Right. You know, Daryl, you just made a good point. You want to share your point, Daryl?
Definitely. So, before being prior informed of how the Electoral College really operated itself, I too was advocating for its removal in a sense. But with this election, especially since we're being forced into this period where we're all being able to witness it very firsthand, especially with the onset of this pandemic where we're constrained at home. So, I've got to see how the Electoral College actually benefits both sides, in which Republicans get to have some sort of further representation because, in the absence of the Electoral College, basically, Democrats would rule the United States, and there would be some concerns of that system of checks and balances. So, as elaborated from our lovely professor tonight, it is a necessity after all.
And
Interesting.
to support what he's saying, if you look at Theodore Roosevelt back in the days, I mean, he was president for 16 years. If you look at the electoral map, he really, now that's a president that got 95% of all the electoral votes for 16 years.
Right. Right.
And then when you jump to 1972, Richard Nixon got 98%. He only lost one state, but that's when you show the whole country is in favor of one particular party or one particular person. Since Ronald Reagan, you haven't seen a president that really got such huge gains. Obama got over 300 and something, but I'm talking about Reagan and Nixon got over 500 electoral votes.
Got you. Got you. Let's go ahead and bring in Chris to talk to us about something we saw clearly in black and white during the election. That's the racial divide of this country. Now, folks, this is a topic that deserves to be a show of itself. But if you were in grammar school in the late 1960s and it was, let's say, summertime, you would wake up and look at television in the morning and watch the previous night's riots in one or more American cities. The footage of burning buildings and looted stores became part of the fabric of everyday life. As unremarkable as the scenes of American troops fighting in the jungle, the rice paddies in the never-ending war in Vietnam. Now, the war finally ended in 1975, but not before taking 58,000 American and millions of Vietnamese lives. The riots ended, and though the scars they left could be seen in some of the cities for decades to come, several decades. For much of the past, let's say, half century, it felt as though America had gotten past that horrible divisiveness of the late 1960s. Blacks moved steadily into the middle class. We had multiculturalism flourish. Intermarriage between blacks and whites actually was still in the 1960s in more than a few states. We saw where it grew. We had a president, Barack Obama, the child of a black father and a white mother, a man who self-described and self-identified himself as black. He was elected president in 2008 and reelected 4 years later, 2012, which was on an unimaginable prospect in 1968. But the open wound of racism in this country, a wound that dated back to the beginnings of the nation, if you will, that remained unhealed. In your opinion, Chris, can we as a country be healed? And if so, where do we begin? Chris?
Are you with us, sir?
No, actually, Chris.
Yeah,
Caesar.
Mr. Cecil.
Go ahead, Chris. Can you unmute him? Okay. Well, we're going to have to get back with Chris next week. Daryl, what do you have for us?
Okay, stemming off back from our discussion on the Electoral College, it has been a hot
Miss
topic of-
Anderson.
Oh, there she is.
Daryl, Miss Anderson, finally you showed up. Well, your Uber ran late.
Oh, honey, I was here listening. You guys were having a great conversation. I just sneak in.
No, we kept calling you. We were calling you. We were waiting on you.
You know, there was such this monumental conversation about the Electoral College and how the actual vote works in December, being the actual electorate. I'm like, I'm letting y'all have this. Teach me something I don't know, or maybe that I do know.
Girl, I had to make stuff. I had to pull stuff through my ears, but that's all right. It's so good to see you. See, Lindsay was here as well. She had to go back to work though, but
okay. And
so
I
Daryl, what's up?
On the line, and Delina.
Yes.
Hey, Dina.
Daryl.
On the line too. Hey, Miss Sheila. So when we have the show,
Yes,
I'm
I'm here.
chatting with everyone in the chat.
Yeah.
Hey, Dina. What's up, girl?
I think we should have a further conversation on the Electoral College versus the popular vote, because we need to hear the other side.
All right. Well, hey.
Add some.
So it's like a debate.
When you say the other side, what do you mean? What do you mean, Dina? When you say the other side? What do
Okay,
you
we
mean?
have been hearing the conversation went in favor of the Electoral College.
When here?
Yes.
We're not in favor or against anything, Dina. We're just putting it out there. We're an educational forum. So we had a person who shared his perspective. But no. Let me just preface by saying this. We are a non-profit organization. We do not take sides on anything when it comes to politics, folks. So young people, what we're trying to do is educate you on what's happening. So we'll show you both sides. There are times I feel very strongly about some things, and you'll hear I feel passionate about certain things. My political viewpoints are mine. My opinion as it relates to who I vote for or who you should vote for, that's personal. However, I will share with you facts as it relates to the political process.
Let me
Darren, what do you have for us?
Let me just say something on that real
Professor,
quick.
you're about to say?
Yeah,
Go ahead,
I think
go ahead,
she might
Professor.
have. I think she might have maybe didn't quite hear what I was trying to do. Actually, I showed both sides of the conversation where it supported the Electoral College and where it supported popular vote. Like I was explaining to you, if you people that are proponent of popular vote wants it because larger states, in a sense, every vote counts. But when you look at the electoral map, the blue states would probably win the majority of the times because the majority of the population live in blue states. If you support the electoral votes, it goes for people who live in smaller states, because if they don't get an equal say, then their guys would never see the presidency. And that's the reason why it was set up. But, you know, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon, because then they would have to change the fabric of how they draw district lines and how they make up congressmen and senators.
I see you chomping at the bit. You just want to say a word? Go ahead.
How you doing?
John, you.
Oh, only thing I was gonna say is for a Democrat, whether it's the popular vote or electoral college, they're not gonna win that state anyway. But I do understand that with the electoral college, that at least gives the citizens of Kansas to feel like their vote matters because it fits within the whole. So I understand both sides. And I understand if you are a smaller state, you want to feel, because if you don't have those electoral votes, then why vote? But anyway.
Yeah, conversation to continue. Dina, you go ahead and work on it, and we'll definitely got to address this issue coming up. We're out of time, guys, but I noticed Chris just showed up. Look, Chris, you missed the beginning of what I had to say. The country is divided racially, as we've seen over the last couple of days, and we've known for a while. I'm not going to get into that again, but the
Yeah.
open wound of racism in America dates back to the beginning of the nation. That has remained unchanged. Can we, as a country, in your opinion, be healed? And if so, where do we begin?
In my opinion, yes, of course we could be healed um, as a country. Where I'm trying to affect change myself is I have a unity event trying to bring Black and white people together, and basically, I think the only way we can heal is by attacking our problems head on. We cannot not acknowledge the 401 years of oppression Black people have been through. And that's why me and my partner, Steve Moschwitz, we came up with the Unity in the Community, November 12th. And what we're going to do is face those problems head on. And we're going to try to educate white folks on all of the things that Black folks go through. And they're going to give us some education on their thoughts. I think that we can heal, but you can't heal any problem without facing it head on.
Thank you. So tell me about your event, Chris. You say you have an event coming up?
Yes, we have the Unity event, which right here you can say you see it says "We Are Delray." That is the hat that we've been selling since last night to help with the charity. And what that is a white hand and Black hand shaking hands, representing me and my partner. What we're doing here is we're going to bring the community together. We're going to have a tough discussion with a moderator and a panel with Ricky Williams from the Miami Dolphins, Chief Sims, myself, and a few other people, Brandon Flowers, and a few other people that are movers and shakers in the community. We're going to give away a car to a single mother, but the main thing is to get people talking. That's why we call it conversation, cars and conversation, because you can't fix any problem without conversation. And so that's what we're going to do.
When will this be, Chris? When will this be?
November 12th, 1107 Wallace Road in Delray Beach, Florida.
Wallace Road. Where's Wallace Road?
That is on the south side of Delray near Linton. It's Linton and Wallace. It's like where our Wallace Ford used to be. It's right there on the south side, right off 95 on Linton Boulevard. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Great insight, Sarah. I hope your event goes well.
Thank you.
So to continue on our discussion of the Electoral College, it has been a matter of confusion for all. But not to confuse you even more, I should also add that whether the results are clear or not this week, states won't actually cast their Electoral College votes until the 14th of December. Normally, that's a formality, but 2020 has been anything but normal. Can you explain this, Professor? How has the trend in the confusion behind the Electoral College, what can you clear up for the viewers here tonight and for us participants as well? Professor, are you with us?
Good. Go ahead.
It looks like he's taking off. I don't see him up here.
Good, Daryl.
Right.
Just continue.
All right. So while we're able to emphasize the importance to vote in elections, the only people whose votes matter in the presidential race are those who live in the handful of states considered swing states, such as Florida, where we are currently hosting, and other popularly dense areas in the United States. So with all of this in mind, that will do it for this week's edition of Community Conversations. We hope you learned something tonight and that will make a significant impact on your life. Young people, there is no greater investment you can make on a Friday night than being with like-minded peeps on Community Conversations. We thank you for joining us. Next week, we will hear from our fine educators who left a previous occupation for a career in education. Thank you, Professor Tinko, for enlightening us. And a big, sincere shout out to the Boca Raton Tribune for simulcasting us on Facebook, and our sponsors, Healthier Delray Beach, Blanc New Look Barbershop, DNA Total Fitness, Wellness Financial, Roots and Wings, Ezra Craig, Marsha Eisenberg, and Doug Young. As we wrap up tonight's session, we have to leave you with this message on mask wearings and social distancing procedures. Can we bring that up, please?
A mask can say a lot about the person who wears it. But even more about the person who doesn't.
That will be all, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope that you have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And
Approach
we
show.
are clear.
Glad that you see, you know, spend quality time with your